Hi everybody, and welcome to our final week of Decoding Digital and our very last session. It's our very last hangout with Sahel Katwani. How you going, Sahel?
Hey Ryan, hey everybody.
And we're actually live from Torquay today, just for a bit of a change. And we've got Fergal here. I think he's going to show us a bit of the view that we're enjoying at the moment, just to show that really.
Yes, hey everybody. Seems like it's dropped out there for a second. We are mobile, so I think these things tend to happen, especially if you are mobile and trying it.
Bit of a technical glitch, but that's all right. Quick recovery is what we're after. So Fergal's joined us again. How you
Good
going,
afternoon,
Fergal?
everybody.
Squeezing in there.
Bad cameraman there, so just wanted to show you that we're in the beautiful surrounds of Torquay today, doing a planning day ourselves. So I guess the last week of the hangout was all about you guys putting together a plan. So we thought we'd prove that we're practicing what we preach. We've got a few people joining us now, which is great. So please keep the questions going. We've got Twitter running here, so if you have any questions, tweet them to us, and we've got half an hour to answer the last of your questions. Ryan, have we had any one-page plans come through from anybody?
Yeah, we've got a couple of one-page plans going through. We did get the template up there a little bit later for you this week, so I think we're going to just give people till next week to send in their plans, and then we'll organise for the 3 people to get the prize from Business Victoria, which is a set of 3 mentoring sessions. Was it 3 or 4 mentoring sessions?
I think it was 3 from memory.
With an experienced business mentor from Business Victoria, so really good opportunity. I think they normally go for about $300 or more, so really good opportunity to sort of continue what we've been talking about and get some really great insights there.
Great. We've had a couple of questions come through. I know your analytics session was really well received.
Yeah, I enjoyed it certainly.
I know analytics gets people excited. It's great.
Especially you, Ryan.
Yeah, especially me.
But we did have some questions come through. A question come through from Philippa, didn't we?
Yeah. So the problem with she's not seeing any data and no page views coming through to her Google Analytics account. But her Weebly website starts telling her that there are views coming through there. So there are a number of reasons why you might have problems with that. First and foremost, Philip, I don't know all the details, but if you have just set up the account, so you've just created a Google Analytics account and just put the code on, you can expect about a 24-hour lag until the data comes through. So you won't always see your data instantaneously. It does take a while. So if you did just set it up, that might be why you're not seeing anything yet. It's also because you won't be able to collect past data. So once you first set up your account, it'll take a while to accumulate a bit of data. Another reason might be if you put the tracking code onto the code of your website, you may have just entered it slightly incorrectly, or you might have not put it on the right template, or you may have missed a template. So yeah, going back and double checking that.
What I can suggest, though, if I had to come in from an SEO point of view, that we do run audits on websites, and one of the first things we do is check analytics. So if you Google Analytics Checker or Google Analytics Checker, you should get a few free tools out there that will actually check it for you on your website. So I know there is one called SEO Site Check, that's free. You can put it in your website and see whether the analytics is actually being captured. And there are a lot of free ones out there that you can use to check, because I think checking it manually, you might not be sure whether it's on or not on.
There are also a couple of troubleshooting things you can do inside Google Analytics. So within your admin panel, there is, if you go into your tracking code, there's an menu item called tracking code, and that will tell you whether the tracking code is active. And another great way to check is to go onto a page of your website and at the same time have the real-time reports in Analytics open. And I can show you this. We might delve into there in a little bit.
You dive in, Ryan, and let people see.
And I'll show you the real-time report. And what that does is, while there is a data lag coming through to your reports, real-time reports will show you who's on your website right now. So if you're on the page and you can't see yourself coming through to the analytics in the real-time report, then that's a good way of knowing that the tracking code hasn't been set up correctly. So that's a really good troubleshoot to do there. And sometimes getting it set up can be a bit tricky to start with. So
it does take a few seconds, Ryan, when you are real time. Is that right?
Yeah.
To actually show up.
Once again, it's not completely instantaneous.
Yeah,
that data still has to be sent through. So leave it for a minute or two, and see whether that comes through. So maybe that's something we can show you in today's hangout as well.
Yeah, look, I think no time like the present, Ryan. Why don't you jump in and show us that live?
Yeah, do you want to dive in there and share the screen first, Fergal? Everyone's just getting a good look at Fergal's face while we.
Here we go.
Okay, so hopefully everyone's seeing my screen. Let's go over to our analytics. I'll go to our home page. So we have multiple analytics accounts set up in here, but I'm just going to go through to our Symphony 3 account, and we've got a number of views set up. So I might talk about views a little bit as well in a bit, but for the time being, we'll just look at our reports. So at the highest level, these are our different reports down the side here. And if you want to look at real-time reports, we just click real-time, and you can go to overview. And you can see that right now it's registering no people looking at our website, and it could show us our active pages and where the referrals and the traffic have come from. And because no one's there at the moment, we can't see anyone, but we can see that roughly 21 minutes ago there were 2 page views on our website. So I'm going to go check our website now.
I've actually just done that as well, Ryan.
On
another computer, so
I don't need to because Sahal's already.
There we go.
And we can see that one user's popped up. And if I scroll down, we should see that Sahal's on the home page. So it shows the second part of the URL, what comes after the symphony3.com, and there's no extension there because he's just on the home page. So I want you to jump over to the Solutions for Business page. And that's just loaded up now. So we'll expect to see this change once the data comes through. While that's loading, another thing that we can see is where the views are coming from. So we can see that it's registering as Geelong. So that ties into a question we were asked during the webinar this week about, can you see individual suburbs or towns? Cities like Geelong will register as a city, but we're actually in Torquay at the moment. So,
Yeah, look, I think it's got. Don't know the full technical details, but it'll depend on where your exchange is for your internet connection.
Yeah, very, very good point, Fergal. It's a lot to do with where your internet provider is. So sometimes it's even interstate.
And just going back up there, we can now see that this computer is navigated to the Solutions for Business page.
Now, Ryan, a quick question. You can tie in your SEO, your webmaster tools, and Google Analytics, can't you?
Certainly. So one thing Sahal's talked about is webmaster tools, and we may have touched on this briefly during the webinar this week, but we can tie them together because they're all Google products. So if I go into acquisition, Sahal, do you want to give a really short background on what webmaster tools do, just to refresh people?
Oh yeah, sure. So webmaster tools are another Google product. It's a free tool as well to get set up. It's mainly used to check the health of your website in the eyes of Google, meaning how your website is performing, whether it's been affected by any spam, what sort of queries people are coming to on your website, or even how many pages that Google actually knows about on your website, things like that. And if you are using authorship, which we did speak about in week 4, which is a great one of the good things you can do for SEO to differentiate yourself. It'll give you some author stats as well, telling you how well your blogs are doing and which ones are doing better or worse.
So that's great, and we can tie that into analytics so we have it all in one place. And what I'm looking at right now is search queries. So traffic that's come to our website when people have searched certain queries into a search engine. And what we can see for ours over the last month is that Sohal's SEO'd us really well for SEO terms.
Yeah, so just to clarify, Ryan, there is an option to see search amount of visits, but a lot of this also has to do with impressions. So in impressions as well, they do show, how many times the search has been viewed and so forth. So, you can get clicks and you can change that. So I wish that was happening over a month, but I think it's a lot to do with impressions as well over there. But yes, you can get down into clicks and so forth.
Great. So one other thing I might mention to people that's worth looking into is setting up multiple views in your Google Analytics. So while we're on the topic of setting up your analytics, it's really important to, if you look at the admin panel, when you create your account, there's a structure of account, property, and view. And there are tutorials that Google have made on this, and I recommend that everyone who's doing their own analytics looks at these because it's really important to keep your data clean. So your account is the account you set up. So for us, it's Symphony 3. A property is generally for an individual website, or you'd maybe set up a separate property if you were going to have a mobile app or a separate mobile website. But for most of you, I feel like you'll have one property for your website, which is the same as us. But what a view is just a way of slicing the data into different segments, really. But you always want to keep your original view. If you're going to be setting up goals and you're going to be setting up filters and you're going to be setting up anything that configures your data, you always want to keep one original view that's exactly just clean out of the box, because we can always backtrack to that and find the original data if we make a mistake. So I would highly recommend going into your views, and before you make any goals or set up anything, definitely go in and create a new view and do it in there, so you've always got a clean version to go back to if something goes wrong.
Another question, Ryan. Some people might have multiple websites and they want to run Google Analytics. How would you recommend people set up Google Analytics if they're running multiple sites?
I certainly think it's a strategic question. So if they were two completely different businesses that weren't related and didn't associate with one another, I would probably just create two different accounts, and because they're completely separate entities and you're measuring them for different objectives, and you're looking for different things. But if they were two different websites but they were closely related and you were using them and they were complementing each other, then you might go and create two properties and one for each website, and you'll get a different tracking code for each one of those websites, and then you'll put that different tracking code on each one. But you've still got them all here with one account because they're all tied into the same business and similar objectives, but maybe slightly different in the purpose they serve.
I know we didn't really touch too much about after SEO about this. Sometimes people do AdWords and all. I see you can tie that in with your analytics as well and see how well your ads are doing. Suppose you are spending that money to understand where which ads are being clicked on and so forth.
Certainly. So similar to Webmaster Tools because they're all Google products, it's tied in together. So if we were running AdWords campaigns, there is an AdWords report here within Google Analytics, and you can see you've got a whole bunch of different reports you can produce there. So whether it's an individual campaign or positions. So we don't have any AdWords set up at the moment, so I unfortunately can't show you a report. But that is there to link in, and it is really easy. So if you're doing that, definitely be measuring it, because you're spending money and you want to know what your ROI is.
Good for local businesses who are offering discounts maybe to their customers, knowing things like that, and through ads and so forth, they could use it for that, especially.
Yeah, and if you're still not completely sure about the whole advertising thing and whether you should be spending money, this is a great way to find out whether it's worthwhile for you and whether you're getting your value.
Right.
One final thing I might show you before we talk about some other things, so I don't bore you all with analytics too much in our last hangout, is setting up a filter. If you're working for a larger organization and you might have employees in your organization going to your website many times a day and looking for different information, you might see that we've got a view set up here that's no internal traffic. So you can set up a view that actually, by creating a filter, excludes your internal traffic. So for example, this excludes our Indian office. I can go exclude and traffic from a certain country. But you can also exclude by IP address, and if you're a large organization, you might have one static IP address across the whole building. that's really easy to remove all that traffic. So your data and your figures aren't getting biased by the fact that you've got lots of visits and lots of interactions coming from your own staff, because they just don't tell us accurately about how websites are serving our customers or our audience. When we're not trying to measure our staff, more or less.
I don't know whether it was here or some other platform where you can actually see if people are visiting from larger organizations.
Yeah, so you've got domains here. If you're targeting larger companies, multinationals that will have their own network, you'll be able to see what companies effectively are coming onto your website. So that's a really good point.
Especially if you're a consultant or you offer services and you've quoted or pitched to one of the bigger organizations to assist them. You could know whether they actually checked you out and visited your website.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, we've got it there. Obviously, you see a lot of ISPs coming through, so small businesses will also, generally be using Telstra or Big Pond. But we can see we've got RMIT have come in and looked at our website for
Hampshire County Council from the UK.
Yeah.
So you'll see the larger organisations pop up there. So quite interesting there. And I know this one of the reports, Virgil, that automatically gets sent to you at the end of each month, and you tend to have a browse through.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you want to jump back out to the camera, Ryan. Next one down.
There we go.
So we're back online. I just want to very quickly, we've got about 15 minutes left to go, guys, and just talk through some of the weeks that we went through. Week 1, we talked about trends for people to watch out for and look at. We talked about cloud computing, we talked about data, we talked about what else? 3D printing was another one. We talked about the sharing economy. Throw it open to you guys. What trends do you see? Interesting trends do you see out there for small businesses? What should they be watching?
I think one that I'm interested in, and I mentioned this earlier today, Fergal, when we were discussing our own strategy, that definitely a movement away from. I mean, we said the social is a trend, and that's certainly here to stay.
Yeah.
But the so much talk about individual social media tools, as people automatically associating social media with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I think it's going to be far less about the platforms and individual tools, and very much about a full digital platform, and it's all going to be so integrated that we're just going to be talking about digital, and social media as a term is just going to be given. It's not going to be, it might not have the same stigma it does now.
I think you're only going to see a growth. It's going to be about digital. It's going to be about digital journeys. What we've talked over the 8 weeks, I think you're going to hear a lot more about personas, and I think you're going to start seeing more sophisticated versions of personas starting to come out.
From an SEO point of view, I agree as well. It's more about digital as well, but it's a lot about your digital reputation as well, if that's the right word to put it in there. So, making sure that someone Googles you or Googles your website, you have good control over, what's showing up, and if there are any negative comments, that you've replied back to that, or, especially for product-based businesses and service-based businesses, you have, your all your integrated digital, and you have a good social media profile, and you're doing all the stuff that people expect to see, especially.
You want to be found where the person is, and you want to have a consistent message across all the different platforms.
Exactly. Yeah.
Google talk about the 0 moment of truth.
Yeah.
We mentioned that it's an ebook that's well worth reading for people as well.
Yeah. I just want to throw that out there. Google has launched the My Business thing. So just for all the small business owners, we did speak about Google Places and so forth. They've taken everything and they've started this thing called My Business. It's like it's where you can manage your whole, pretty much a lot of your Google tools, your local listings, your contact details, your Google Plus, all into one suite, and it gives you a lot of flexibility and control to what people can see when they Google you, or where you are.
Another thing I wanted to add?
Well, I just think it's exciting to think about all the things we can't predict yet, and there are things happening now that 2 or 3 years ago we would have thought to be quite absurd.
Yeah.
I just watched a concert that I bought tickets for online the other day. It was a purely online concert, and you buy a virtual ticket and watch someone play on the other side of the world. The music industry has been completely changed by digital, and more industry is going to be changed in ways that we don't yet know about. So it's exciting more than anything.
And look, I think it's really important that businesses take the time. We're doing it today. We've taken the day out of the city to brainstorm and see what the implications for this technology on our business. And really, you need to do that in your own business. Take time out, once a quarter or once a year even, and say, right, well, where are we at? What's changing? How's digital changing my industry? What do I need to do as a result? Which leads into week 2. I'm going to keep going. We talked about putting digital foundations in your business. So we talked about policies. We talked about skills in the business. We talked about your cloud technology as your IT infrastructure. I'm going to throw it out to you guys again. Tip 4, foundations. So if someone's going out and they're thinking of getting a digital strategy together, what are the key foundations or key things that you can bear in mind to have in place, that you need to have in place to get the best out of digital?
I think it's hard to answer that in one go, but I think knowledge, understanding of what's out there and what's for you and not what's not for you. You can't be on every platform and do everything in social media, or even on SEO and so forth.
And we did touch on that, the notion of skills. Decide what it is that you want to learn, and you want to learn, you want to have internal to your business, and then decide what you're going to outsource to somebody else, if you think that helps. But make a decision as to where your best resources are best spent. And if you need a skill set, you don't have to necessarily employ somebody. You've got Elance, you've got freelancers, so it is a flexible marketplace out there.
And there's a lot of guidance and free content out there as well. We've developed a lot of content as well that you could use over the 8 weeks, which will definitely get you, but coming back to that, I think it's all about understanding your customers and really offering them what they want to see online.
I think another thing that I'd like to put across on, in terms of foundations, particularly a lot of us are one-man businesses, I guess, that have been attending these sessions. But if you are employing people, if you've got 10 plus people in the business and you want to get digital, you need to be, if you're the owner, you need to be the champion. You need to make it a real priority that your business is going to do digital. It's not about giving it to the youngest person in the building who you think is going to know social media better than you. That's just not going to work. You need to put digital at the center of your strategy, and you need to be the champion of the initiatives.
Yeah, and I think you need to give people a fair bit of slack to go out there and try these tools and use them, and give them some autonomy, but have the right frameworks in place, that you do have a social media policy and you do have a response guide, and if you're going to be creating content, give a bit of structure to it. So have a content plan, involve people in that process, but do make it a plan, do make it strategic, don't just keep it completely ad hoc. But that said, I think when we're creating policies and guidelines, that we try to keep them flexible enough that people, it's not too restrictive, that you do allow creativity and collaboration.
Absolutely, you've got to empower people rather than restrict people. I think with your policies, that's key to getting it.
And there is that policy we've made available, which people can use as a template or use just as it is if they want to.
Yeah, that's right. There was one other thing, but I forget what it was, so I'll keep going. We've got about 5 minutes left, 10 minutes left.
6, 7 minutes.
6, 7 minutes. We then jumped into customer personas. Any thoughts on customers' personas? What are your viewpoints? I hammered it here.
Probably, still one of the most important things, but we've covered in this 8 weeks. So if you're going to take anything away, regardless of whether you think we know what we're talking about or not, which hopefully we do, take that and use that customer persona sheet.
Completely agree. The biggest mistake people make when starting their new website or starting a new thing is not understanding who they're building the site for. And they go and they purchase a template that looks pretty, works well, for looks nice, but it's not for them. It's not for their customers. So
it's a major mistake we see with companies like ourselves, I guess, to a certain degree, who are maybe technical or in a technical, technical speak in their own language, and not necessarily for the customer.
Yeah, take the time to understand your customer. That's the biggest thing. Ask surveys probably, or speak to them as well. That should be your starting point. I completely agree with that.
We then jumped in and we went through the customer journey. Again, there are handouts that are available for people. We probably spent a lot of time on the awareness and the evaluation, and I guess the loyalty at the very end. Where would you start? So probably awareness, being an SEO man.
Yeah, awareness definitely. So again, tying back to the previous week, understanding your customers, understand how they search. What are they searching for? What sort of words do they put in? What sort of content are they looking for? And offer that to them. What are their pain points? What are they looking to solve? And then from there you move forward. So
I think a really important point is we tend to get carried away with the latest tool that's coming out. I think it's a real trap that small businesses fall into. You know, people still Google, so SEO is as important as social media, if not more important. So email marketing is still really, really important. So don't think just because Pinterest is suddenly big or Instagram that you can forget about your email marketing. You can't, generally speaking. So you know, it's not about jumping from tool to tool to tool. If there's tools that are working for you, if you're sending letters and posting letters and that's working for you, that's still maybe a viable strategy. And we know, well, I know of consultants who take a contrary view to, and they go against the grain and they say, right, well, everyone's getting emails this week, so I'm going to write a personalised letter, handwritten letter to my client, because the client never gets a handwritten letter. So, you know, it doesn't have to be prescriptive. Don't believe all the hype. It's often better to be slightly behind the hype.
So one thing I like there, Fergal, is that whether we're writing a handwritten letter, an email, whether it's SEO, where we bring traffic to our website or social media or a blog, content is still vital, because once we get them there, if the content's not right and the message isn't right, then we lose the customer. So you know, we still have to always be thinking about that. And you know, I've come across clients where they feel like they don't have anything to say, or that what they have to say is boring to most people, and that the wider audience don't want to read it. And I go in there as a third party and find that what they do is actually quite interesting and fascinating if you can present it in the right way. It's interesting to a lot of people, so don't think that what you do won't interest a wider audience. Chances are, if delivered in the right way, it will be of interest to a lot of people.
I think that's absolutely right. You've got to try and package it up as a story as best you can. You know, we've always talked about it's not just text, video works, Google Hangouts, if we can do it, you can do it. Webinars work. You know, it helps you to build a story around your brand and what it is that you do. You said content is still vital. I would actually say content is getting more vital and will continue to get more and more important. Because Google's getting smarter, for example.
Definitely, you know, it's moved away from that. They mostly rank you based on the quality of your content now. If I had to be very sort of like, you know, just overall, just make sure you focus on good content, quality content that's unique and explains your business and, you know, talks to your customers, really.
The other thing to say about this customer journey, we've talked about awareness. You know, there's a whole lot of things you can do around the journey. Reiterate the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 20% of what you do will give you 80% of the results. Don't try and do everything. So if you do take the time to develop your persona and to go through the customer journey, pick 2 or 3 things out of your list of things that you can do. You might have 20. Pick the 2 or 3 that's going to give you the most value and focus on those. Don't try and do everything, because we're small business owners, generally speaking. We don't have the time to do everything. So please take that away. That's a really important point. I know we're nearly on time at our time, I suppose. Final thoughts on the program.
Well, I think it's been a really great experience, and a lot of learning for us, as well as hopefully for everyone else. You know, we've managed to deliver it all online, 100%, which is, you know, pretty great initiative for a government project, and really great for Business Victoria, and I think it's been quite successful, and I've really enjoyed it myself. So yeah, it's been great.
Thank you everyone for attending. You know, thanks to Business Victoria for putting this together, and I hope you learned a lot, which is the most important fact. That you know, you feel more comfortable with all the digital aspects. So. And your business, and taking it to the next level in terms of digital. So I hope that you all feel that way and enjoy the course.
Absolutely. We had a tweet come through from @business. Playle Smith, Business Vic, Symphony 3 Think. Thanks Ryan, Fergal and crew. Made me think, research and act. Great act. So please go away and do something as a result of this session. I'd also really like to thank Stacey and Andrea for giving us this opportunity to present to you in what we think is quite a unique format, totally 100% online over 8 weeks. I think it's an initiative to be praised that Business Victoria actually have taken this step. I'm sure that they'll run more of these and that they'll get better as time goes on. You know, so thanks for giving us the opportunity to impart hopefully some of our wisdom. And we encourage you guys to go out and try things. You know, the conversation doesn't end here. There's a whole load of other resources, as well as all the resources we've put on the Business Vic website. There's newsletters, etc. You know, feel free to tweet us if you need to. So there'll be more information available to you. So don't be scared to go looking for it and to ask questions and use the social tools to investigate. On that note, I think we'll call it a day. So thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in. You guys who've tuned in over the 8 weeks, it couldn't have happened without you. And thanks for all your feedback as well.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.